Kim, I'm sorry, did you not make a copy because these files were on here?
Yeah, I just went back.
I'm sorry, I just set them up there.
No, it's okay. Actually, I needed more stuff.
Know when you're ready, Judge.
All right.
Ready on Deron Williams. Calling case number 2155697, the people of the state of Michigan versus Deron Williams. Defendant is charged with count 1, homicide, murder, first degree premeditated. Count 2, weapons, firearms, possession by a felon. Count 3, count 4, weapons, felony, firearm, habitual offender, 4th notice, mandatory 25-year sentence. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Good afternoon, Judge. Leslie Cooper on behalf of the people, P3085.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Attorney Giles Williams, T17565 on behalf of Mr. Ronald Williams, who is also in the courtroom.
Mr. Williams, state your name for the record, please. Ronald Williams. Thank you, sir. All right, you ready to proceed?
We are, Judge. I ask consent to have my officer in charge here in the courtroom.
Without objection.
All right, any other witnesses testifying today at trial or anytime in the future will be the courtroom, including Zoom and YouTube, or they'll be denied future testimony. Now, currently have 1, 2, 3 other people on Zoom.
We have one witness on Zoom. That would be Taylor Delisle. He'll be our
Okay.
first witness and the only witness of a civilian nature.
That's the name I have where I'm seeing the fan.
Yes.
I also have a Kristen, Kristen Boone. You related to this?
Not that I'm aware of it.
And the last one just says Sowi Cone, S-O-W-I Cone.
These are not people that I'm aware of.
You want me to ask who they are, if they're related to this case in any way?
I'm sorry, that Kristen Boone is the suspect's girlfriend, so she should not be on that.
Hey, Ms. Boone, can you put your video on, please?
Me?
No, not you. Yeah, just hold on.
Okay.
Boone. You're Kristen Boone? Turn your sound on.
Good, okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're related to this case in some kind of way?
No, that is my fiance though.
So why couldn't you be on?
She was questioned in this case and could potentially be a witness at trial.
I mean, that's just question, doesn't mean she's gonna be a witness. You either know something about it or she doesn't. Was she there?
No, she's not a witness to the scene, but there were questions about the defendant that were raised to her after she asked, yes. She gave statement to the police.
Okay, you gave a statement to the police, correct, ma'am?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you can't be part of the proceedings, you can't watch them. Because you're potentially.
Yes, Your Honor. I wondered if you would offer her the option of being on YouTube. Under those circumstances.
No, you can't see any of it.
That's what I wanted to put on the record.
If you're a witness, you're not supposed to see any of it, hear any of the testimony. And I'm just calling you a possible witness. I'm saying that you are, but at this point, you're a possible witness.
Oh.
Right? So you can't watch the proceedings because if you do, then you won't be able to be a witness. You understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Just sign off. Thank you. All right, the person on the phone that says SOWI phone, can you identify yourself? Put your video on, please.
Me? Or no?
Person that has the phone that says SOW and it says iPhone.
Okay.
I need you to put your video on and identify yourself, please.
Taylor Delisle?
Taylor Delisle?
No, that's not the one.
Yes.
Oh, no, ma'am, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to somebody else.
Okay.
All right, if you don't identify yourself, I'm gonna have to take you off the Zoom. All right, the person is removed.
You ready?
We're ready.
Thank you.
Any preliminary issue?
People will call Taylor Delisle, and she is present via Zoom.
Ms. Delisle, can we see your face?
Hold on. All right, I got it. Mr. Lyle,
Yes.
I need the camera on you. Okay, where are you?
I'm at home.
And who's there?
My babies and the father
And where is he?
in the bedroom,
Where are you?
in the kitchen.
Okay, they can't be in the same room with you while you're testifying, all right?
You gotta turn your audio and stuff on. He kicked me out of the Zoom. Like, what type of crap is that?
What happened?
Okay, hold on a minute. Is Onisha Bradley part of this case?
He's grabbing, not that I'm aware
Ms. Bradley,
Yeah, hello,
put the camera on yourself, please, so I can see you.
hello.
How can I help you?
I'm here for my uncle.
Who's your uncle?
His name is Ronald Williams.
Okay, and who else is with you?
You said who else is with me?
Yes.
My mom.
I was trying to turn my audio on and my camera, but my phone wouldn't allow me to do it, and you disconnected me. I was the SOW iPhone.
Identify yourself. If you didn't,
Yeah, I tried to turn my audio on, it wouldn't come on.
Okay. Other than just, this is a family member, you don't have anything to do with this case, correct?
Right, I'm just his sister.
Okay. All right. You can stay on. Thank you.
Should they be on YouTube?
No. Doesn't matter. All right, Ms. Delisle.
All right. Yeah. May we put Mr. Lyle on mute for a moment?
What do you mean mute? Because I can't mute the sound. If you
Okay.
you got a sidebar or something, step in the back. Ms. Delisle, leave the camera on you. Do not walk away from it. Just stay right there, please. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Understood for the record, Your Honor, this morning we had a colloquy on motion with regard to this lady, and that she was not to be a identification witness. However, in her statement, there may be some description of a person, and I would move that she would not be able to use that, address that, because that might go to identification, and therefore would not be part of our agreement this afternoon.
Judge, she's not a witness who can identify the defendant. She is, however, a fact witness who was present and observed the homicide. She's able to testify about what she saw, including the parties, including the description of the person that she saw.
She may not know that person to be able to identify that person, but she can certainly describe what she viewed. She was there. She was not able to pick him out of the lineup, and I don't expect that she would be able to identify him, and I won't even be asking that question today.
All right. I'm gonna allow a testimony. Mr. Lau, are you sick or been, recently diagnosed with, COVID or something?
Yes. Judge.
I have, it's croup. You know, croup, like croup cough.
Yeah, call.
My 2 babies have it, and we went to the hospital for it, and then we got out, and then now me and my mom have it. And it's like temperature, cough, sore throat, everything.
All right, okay. All right, Mr. Noir, so it's a test.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Okay, ma'am, you said you're in your kitchen
Yes,
and you're alone, correct?
correct.
Okay, all right. Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Bradley, you're not a witness. You don't have to put your hand up. You can just listen. Okay. All right. Mr. Lau, you're gonna be asked a series of questions. First by the prosecutor, then the defense attorney will ask you some questions, and I may or may not ask you questions, all right? You
Okay.
have to answer all your questions out loud verbally using words. You just can't shake your head or say, you have to say yes, no, whatever the answer is, okay?
Okay.
Also, when you're asked a question, I need you to answer the question and just stop. If it's a yes or no type question, just say yes or no and stop. If they need additional information, they'll just ask you another question, all right?
Okay.
Well, we all have a tendency, when we're talking about an event that's been traumatic, we tend to ramble. We'll say this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened. If you do that, I am going to miss something. If I miss something, I might not make the right decision. All right? That's why we proceed by one question, one answer. That way I can understand it. I get everything I know about this case from what happens in this courtroom. That's why it's one question, one answer. All right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And if anybody else comes in the room, please just let me know. And we can stop for a moment and we'll take it from there. All right. May proceed.
Thank you. Could you give us your full name, please?
Taylor Delisle.
And Ms. Delisle, you are testifying from home today, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions about an event that occurred back on March 13th of 2020. Do you recall where you were that day? That evening hours?
A gas
station?
The gas station.
Do you know what kind of a gas station that
Yes.
was? What kind of gas station was that?
I read it was the Citgo.
Okay.
Wait.
And
What do you mean you read? You don't
I
know
forgot
what
what
gas
gas
was?
station.
I beg your pardon?
No, I forgot.
So you don't know what kind of gas
It's been a long time, and I looked over the statement and it said the Citgo, so.
okay, so
Hold on.
go ahead.
What statement did you look over?
The one I gave.
Okay, you have a copy of that statement.
Yes, in
You
the
have it-
email.
Huh? Oh, it's in the email. Okay.
Correct.
All right, and this was your statement, correct?
Yes.
That statement, you looked it over to refresh your memory, and that refreshed it was a Citgo gas station.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Do you remember the cross streets where that Citgo gas station was? Did you remember?
No.
Okay, if I say it was on Fenkel and Dexter, does that help refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Okay. And were you with someone else?
Yes.
Okay. And what kind of a vehicle were you in?
Ford Explorer.
So that's an SUV?
Yes,
Okay. And do you remember what color it was?
red.
And when you got to that gas station, what did you do?
I
example-
stayed.
Say it again. Please say it again, please.
I stayed in the car while my friend went in to pay for gas.
Okay, and what's your friend's name?
Kayla
Okay, do you have a last name for Kayla?
McLaren.
Okay. At any rate, Ms. McLaren went into the gas station, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you stayed in the car? Is that what you
Yes.
told? Okay, and remember, were you in the front seat, the back seat, where were you?
Front
Front passenger or front driver?
passenger.
Okay. And what happened while you were in the front passenger seat of that car?
If anything.
Well, I was on my phone and there was two guys outside. And when
Okay,
I looked up,
so you were on your phone, but you saw two guys? Is that right?
Correct.
And okay, you have to answer verbally so we can hear you. You say yes?
they were in front of the truck I was in.
Okay. How far away from you were those two men?
I'm not sure. Not that far, but like kind of far.
Okay. And was there another vehicle by those two men? Do you know?
Yes, at another pump.
Okay. And what kind of vehicle was that? Do you remember the color or the shape?
It was, no, I can't recall. I'm sorry. I don't remember.
Do you have your
Can't
statement?
tell you.
in front? Would that help you remember?
Maybe, yeah. But I don't have it in front of me.
You recall telling the police that you saw two guys standing next to a gray car?
Objection leading.
Yes.
Can't suggest the answers, counsel.
She needs to have a statement.
Then you should have had her statement there.
I did.
Okay, well, she doesn't, for whatever reason, she doesn't have it. You cannot give her the information.
All right, thank you. So, Ms. Delisle, you indicated there were two men. What were they doing?
They ended up fighting and one got killed.
Okay, well, did you see the men fighting?
Okay. I don't remember if they were like fist fighting, but I guess there was some type of altercation because the guy got killed.
Okay, you saw the fighting though, is that correct?
That's not what she said.
Well,
Did you see?
That's what she saw.
Did you
not
see any?
fist fighting. I don't think they were fist fighting, but I think there was a disagreement.
Objection to that, Your Honor. Presumption.
Yeah. You can't speculate or guess. You just gotta say what you saw. You can describe what you saw them doing. If you heard them, you could describe the tone of the conversation if you heard it. But could you hear what they said? Or were they
No.
having a conversation? You just saw two men standing in front of the Explorer. And you said
Yes,
they weren't
correct.
hitting each other, were they?
No, I don't remember. No, I don't remember that. And I don't want to say I do when I don't.
Okay, so they standing there looking at, did it appear to be talking to each other?
Correct.
All right, so you saw two men out there talking to each other.
Correct.
Then what?
One of the men pulled out a gun and the other one started running and then he got shot.
Okay, you said he a lot, so let's take that apart a little bit. Could you differentiate between these two men? For example, was one taller than another?
I don't remember that, honestly.
Did you read the statement that we sent to you?
Yes, I did read it, but I don't remember everything I said in it. My memory, like I've told every detective and everything is bad. So I'm trying my hardest here to remember. I don't.
Do you have the statement in front of you so that we can ask you questions about it?
I could look in my email.
Please.
Okay.
We just make it, witness has indicated that she has been under a doctor care, possibly some medication that she's taking. Clouding her memory.
All right, hold on. Okay. Mr. Lau, were you able to pull up the statement?
Yes. Yep.
Okay,
Yes, I have it right here.
Okay, do you need to read the statement to refresh your memory?
I started on.
No, I'm asking, do you need to? Don't look at it. Do you need to read the statement to refresh your memory?
Yes, I do.
All right, we'll give you an opportunity to read the statement. You said earlier you had went to the doctor for the group. Are you under any medication?
No, I'm not on any medication, but for my memory and like I'm on Adderall. I got prescribed Adderall because of my memory loss and I'm not able to pay attention like that. So I just got prescribed that, which I told the prosecutor on the phone.
Okay, all right, go ahead and read, take an opportunity, read your statement, then come back on Zoom.
Okay. Okay, so I guess sure. Okay.
You had an opportunity to review your statement?
Yes.
Go ahead.
May I ask the court to make an inquiry as to whether or not, having read the statement and having taken Adderall and having a memory problem prevents or hinders her ability to testify truthfully?
No, none of that would hinder her from testifying truthfully.
Well,
You can go into that no problem. The issue is not an issue of her testifying truthfully. She already wanted to tell the truth. All right, and I have to take the position when I swear someone in, that's exactly what they're gonna do. All right,
her
now,
memory as to the event is what I'm really alluding to.
well, but that's what we're trying to get into now.
Very well.
So you had a chance to review your statement. Does that refresh your recollection about the events and what you told the police?
Yes.
Okay. So I just asked you a moment ago if there was a difference in description between the two men. Could you describe what you saw?
Medium built for the shooter.
Okay. And what about the other man?
I didn't even see that in the statement. I didn't even see where it was. I skimmed through everything and I didn't even see it. But he ran to the back of the car when he started running.
Do you remember what you told the police about what the shooter was wearing?
Yes, a puffy jacket, like one of those, filled ones, and light colored jeans.
Do you remember what color the jacket was?
Red, Yeah.
Did you see any hats on anybody?
No.
When you looked up and saw this event occurring, you were still in the passenger seat of the vehicle, is that correct?
Yes, when this happened, and then I jumped in the back of the car and
What
kind
made
of
you
hid
jump- What made you jump in the back of the car?
because I was the only one in the parking lot and I didn't want to get shot.
So my question was it the shooting that made you jump in the back?
Correct. Yes. I looked up, saw what was happening, jumped in the back.
And which of those two people had a gun?
Only one I saw was when the shooting happened. So only the shooter, I believe.
And the shooter is the person you described as wearing the red jacket.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Could you describe that gun from where you were?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Yes. Could you describe anything about the gun from your vantage point, from where you were sitting?
No, only that it was a handgun. It wasn't not like a shotgun or anything. It was smaller.
Okay. Did you describe the victim of the shooting to the police? Do you remember that? I'm specifically looking at page 3 of your statement.
Okay, well, Mr. Lees?
Yes.
Okay, you can't, if you need to refresh your memory, you can let me know, and then I'll say, okay, but otherwise you can't know. You just can't go back and look at it, all right? Would it help to refresh your memory to look at that report again?
That's the thing. I could read it, but it's my memory just it goes in one ear out the other. Like my memory is terrible. So it's like short-term memory loss and everything. Like
Okay, well, the question is, if to look at it again now, would that help you?
yes.
All right, then go ahead and look at it.
Okay.
All right, very nice.
So on page 3 of your report, did you have a chance to read that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, does that refresh your recollection about how you described the victim?
Yes.
What did you say?
I said he was wearing a gray hoodie. He was taller than the shooter, and he had on plaid boxers. And I wasn't sure if it was a gray hoodie or a gray long sleeve.
But that's what you saw and that's what you described, is that correct?
Correct.
And did you remember anything specifically about the shooter after the gentleman had a tussle or fight of some kind?
Now, he had facial hair.
Hold on.
I'm not sure what
There's
you're,
nothing on record saying that it was a fight.
what was the word that you used to describe what you saw the gentleman doing? Before the shooting, what did you see them doing?
Fighting. Right?
Fighting?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's,
No.
she's not asking.
She's asking for, yes, she is. I'm sitting
I
there
know,
waiting.
I understand.
Okay.
Move to strike.
Mr. Lees, rather than just giving a word to describe, say what they were doing. What did you see the two people doing,
Okay.
2 men?
Okay. The two men were standing by the car, and then they were talking, like, and then they kind of were walking towards like the door, like, because we were facing the gas station door, the entrance. All the vehicles were facing that way. And so they walked kind of closer up there, and then they started fighting. And then
What, when you say they
the
started?
one guy pulled out the gun,
Hold on,
and then
hold
another
on, hold
guy
on,
ran.
hold on. When you say they started fighting, describe what you saw, not the interpretation. Describe what you saw. Were they swinging, hitting?
I said in the statement that they were like fighting, fist fighting, but I cannot remember that, and I cannot tell you that for sure right now. But if I said it in the statement, then it's true.
That's correct.
That's what
Even looking at the statement, you're saying you can't remember it.
No, it's hard for me to remember. That's why I didn't want to do this. I told them I wouldn't be a good witness because of my memory.
That's why I'm alluding to her mental condition, Your Honor.
I can strike it off.
Can I impeach her with her statement?
You can impeach her, yeah.
Okay.
But, you know, right now, I can't take it as her saying it. And for the purposes of this exam, it's all she was repeating what she read. And she says she can't remember that.
The judge would use it as a recorded recollection. Once I established that she signed it and the date and admitted as a piece of evidence.
Objection. We have a live witness here. Obviously, if it is something and it reflects her memory and she has no memory of it.
How?
Now,
That doesn't mean she had memory. She didn't have memory of it then. That's the issue of recorded recollection. She recorded it at the time. And because of whatever her situation is, her medical, as you've already put on the record already, her medical situation, that she can't remember, that, yeah, I'm gonna allow it, as long as you lay the foundation.
Ms. Delisle, do you recall that you did in fact speak to a detective at Detroit Police Department? Do you remember doing that?
Yes.
And you remember that you did?
Yes.
Okay, and you've seen the statement that you signed, is that correct? Have you looked
Yes.
at it today? Is your signature at the bottom of all four
Yes.
pages of that statement? And you do agree that
Yes.
that is the statement that you made to the Detroit police at the time, is that correct?
Yes.
And that was dated 3/16/2020, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna mark this as an exhibit, sir.
All right.
Actually, I'll move to read it into the record first, and I will submit it as an exhibit.
Okay.
This is the statement of Taylor Delisle, dated 3/16/2020, taken by Detective Cecilia Clemens at homicide. Start time was 12:33 p.m., end time was 1:18 p.m. Ms. Delisle was noted to be a female and of white race. First question, do you understand I'm conducting a criminal investigation? Answer, yes. Question, what can you tell me about the shooting that you called 911 about? Answer, me and my friend Kayla pulled into the Citgo gas station at Bengal and Dexter. When we pulled in, I saw two guys standing next to a gray car. The two guys were the ones that got shot and the one that did the shooting. The one that got shot was leaning into the window of the car, and the shooter was standing next to him. We parked next to the gas pump, and my friend went inside. I was on my phone. Then I looked up and saw the two guys fighting, and the one who was shot was beating the shooter up. The shooter got up and started shooting at the guy. I think he shot about 3 times. The guy started running to the back of the truck I was in. Then he fell, and the shooter walked up to him and shot 2 more times. The guy looked dead when he fell. I jumped to the back of the truck, and I don't know which way he went after the shooting, But when I looked up, he was walking past the truck and he looked at the windshield of the truck. He kept walking straight, stayed right, and walked up that street. Question. Describe the shooter. Answer. A black male, 7 years old. He was about 5'8", 5'9". Was wearing light wash jeans, a red, white, and black puffy jacket. He had on a black hat. Question. Can you tell his build? Answer. No, because of the puffy jacket. Question. How many gunshots do you think you heard? Answer. 5. Question. Can you describe what type of gun? It was a handgun. I couldn't tell the color, but I think he pulled it out of his waistband on the right side. Page 3, question. Do you recall what time this happened? Answer. We pulled off around 12 a.m., so around 20 minutes prior, but that's a rough estimate. Question. Can you describe the gray car that they were next to? Answer. It looked like a Charger. It was matte gray, dark gray. It looked like a sport car. It was really nice. Question. Did you call 911 from the scene or when you left? Answer. When I left. Question. Is there anything else you can tell me about the shooter? Answer. He had hair on his face, but not a full beard. Question. Can you describe the victim? He was black. He was taller than the person that shot him. I think he had on a gray hoodie, but I'm not so sure if it was a hoodie. And I remembered plaid brown boxers. Question. Did you hear any conversation between the two? Answer. No. Page 4. Question. Is there anything else you can tell me? Answer. The shooter had blood on his face. Question. Did you read your statement? Answer. Yes. Question. Are there any corrections? Answer. Yes. I called 911 from the scene. It was just as we were pulling out. That's the end of the statement. It is signed on all 4 pages by Ms. Delisle. And I move for its addition.
Exhibit number 1.
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
What's the exhibit?
That will be exhibit 13.
And
Purpose of only preliminary examination only.
All right,
And we're,
it'll be admitted for preliminary examination purposes only.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, I need a date. Yeah. Thank you. Give me a moment, you kind of read it fast, I want to go over it.
I've got prisoner Mosley here.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Were you asked to try and make an identification of the persons that you thought at seeing them by looking at some photographs?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you
Yes.
able to identify anyone?
I kept telling them I didn't know who it was, but
Okay.
they just said, give it your best guess. So I pointed at 2 pictures.
Okay. But that's all that happened, correct?
Correct.
No further questions, thank you.
Oh,
Yes. Mr. Lyle, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Hello. Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Now I can.
All right. Do you see who I am here with a black mask on?
Yes.
All right, very well. I have some questions to ask you on behalf of the person involved in this case that is here today, and I'm asking you about your memory. You indicated that it is flawed, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, and if in fact you said in your written statement going back to March the 16th that you were not able to say what the build of the person was, yet you testified to that today, would your testimony today be mistaken? Would it be mistaken?
No, because if I said it then that's what it was. But if you asked me today what it was, I cannot recall.
Okay, I'm asking you, would you agree that in your statement, you would have said you were not able to tell his build because of the jacket he was wearing? Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Because check. Yeah.
May I have a moment, Your Honor, with my client?
sure.
Thank you. One more question, Mr. Lyle. You, in your statement, if you recall, you estimated the around age of the shooter as 27. Would you agree with that, or possibly 28? I beg your pardon, 27 years of age? Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yes.
And you would agree with it today, and you would agree with that statement that that's what you wrote. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Look at in your statement, and do you agree with that today?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lau. Any reason to keep around? Around. Okay, you can sign off. Thank you.
Okay.
Judge, the next exhibit is proposed exhibit number 1. It is the medical examiner's report. I'll read into the record only the summary and opinion, but submit the totality of the report. This is ME case number 20-3323, County of Deb Wayne, Town of Deb, Detroit, date pronounced dead March 14th, 2020. This is to certify that Carl Schmidt, Chief Medical Examiner, performed a postmortem examination on the body of Delonte Hall at the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office on March 15th, 2020. His summary and opinion is as follows. It is my opinion that death was caused by multiple gunshot wounds as follows. 1, this gunshot wound on the midline of the chest. The wound track proceeded from this injury through the sternum, left clavicle, upper lobe of the left lung, aortic arch, fractured the left posterior fifth rib, and exited the left back. There were 1,500 milliliters of blood within the left chest cavity as a result of this wound. The wound track was from front to back, right to left, and downward. 2, this gunshot wound on the right lateral thigh. The wound track proceeded from this injury through the skin and soft tissue of the right thigh, fractured the right femur, and into the right anterior hip soft tissue, where a bullet fragment was recovered. The wound track was from right to left and upward. 3, this gunshot wound was also on the right lateral thigh. The wound track proceeded from this injury through the skin and soft tissue of the right thigh, fractured the right femur, and into the right anterior thigh, where 2 deformed bullet fragments were recovered. The wound track was from right to left and upward. Additionally, multiple abrasions were present on the right brow, nose, right flank, right elbow, and knees. The manner of death is homicide. It was signed by Carl Schmidt, MD, Chief Medical Examiner, and the date of the report is June 10, 2020. I move for its admission, Judge.
Your Honor, just as long as it contains the entire report, I think it's probably 5 or 6 pages, including the diagram, anatomical diagram, and the toxicology report. Great, thank you.
There's a stipulation as to the identification of the deceased, which is attached to Exhibit 1. That's an identification data sheet from the county morgue, and it indicates that Delonte Hall was identified by Robin Hall, his aunt, and Jacqueline Hall, his grandmother, and that was signed, that was noted, it was 3/14/20 when this was done, and the body was identified to Crystal Frazier of the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office. And that's a stipulation for purposes of exam, Judge.
Without objection.
I would next call Detective Hugh, Delani Hugh.
Last name?
Dew, D-E-W.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, sir. Can you tell us your full name, please?
Ronnie Duke,
And how are you employed?
the city of Detroit, Detroit Police Department,
How long have you been so employed?
21 years.
And as of now, what is your current assignment?
I work for major crimes homicide.
And were you working for major crimes homicide last year on the 13th of March, 2020?
Yes,
And what is your relation to this case?
I am the OIC officer, Charles.
What does an OIC do?
OIC is the person that kind of oversees the case. I work for a unit, a team of us, about 5 or 6 people. We all gather evidence together. The OIC is the one who obtains everything. And if you have a warrant to present, the OIC is the person who presents that to the prosecutor.
And did you do that in this particular instance?
Yes.
Okay. On this occasion, were you at the scene of this homicide?
Yes.
Okay, and that was back on the 13th
Yes.
of March? And what did you notice about that location?
That location is a Project Green Light location.
Excuse me, Your Honor. The year,
2020?
2020. Thank you.
So we're talking about 2020, nothing in 2021, but 2020, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so back in 2020, when you were at the scene, you said it was a Citgo gas station?
That is correct.
And you said it was a green light gas station. What does that mean?
Project Green Light is a project that the city of Detroit has teaming with outside businesses to actually put up cameras on the businesses, and they're monitored by the Detroit Police Department and reported by the Detroit Police Department.
And was that done in this particular instance?
It was at the Citgo gas station.
And was there video obtained of this event?
Yes.
Judge, permission to play the first video?
Without objection, for the purpose of exam only.
Sure. That's an exhibit.
Gosh, this would be exhibit 14.
How long is it?
Oh, we need to have a share screen operational time. This one is less than a minute.
Okay.
There it is. Detective, we see two people in this frame up by a car near the pumps, is that correct?
Correct.
And at this moment, can you tell us about the person who's on the right wearing the lighter color?
The person on the right wearing the lighter color was identified as being my victim, Delonte.
Okay, so that's Delonte Hall?
Correct.
Okay, go ahead. And Detective, you were able to see all of these video clips in relation to the incident. How soon did you happen to see these?
It was downloaded that day. It was downloaded that day.
And that clip is, detective view, was the body of Delonte Hall on the ground at that point?
Yes.
And the shooter, that person is identified as wearing a red and white coat. That person had left the shop that we can see, correct?
Correct.
Can you identify, seeing it, is the body up in the top right corner on the ground?
It is right, just above pump 6, I believe that is. My eyesight is correct.
Okay.
In front of pump 6, yeah, street.
Thank you. And detective view, is this another view of the same storefront?
Correct.
And again, in the upper right-hand corner, do we see the person that we're identifying as the shooter come into the frame?
Yes, we do.
Can we see Mr. Hall from this perspective?
Yes, he's still over by the, Gray Ford Fusion, standing outside on the driver's side.
And he's wearing the sweatshirt or shirt with a gray back.
That's correct, near pump 3.
Okay. And detective, do we see a red SUV at the top of the screen?
Yes, parked near the front.
And again, is Mr. Hall visible in this view? Detective, is
Yes.
that Mr. Hall on top?
The shooter, yes, ma'am.
Objection, Your Honor.
What's the objection?
Whatever it is that the video is showing is enough without the testimony of the witness.
Well, the witness was identifying Mr. Hall.
That's correct.
I don't need a commentary, I can see.
That's right.
myself.
Thank you.
But he's identifying the
Other person as a shooter.
identifying the deceased who was in the gray sweater sweatshirt, whatever. Bring that.
Understood. Well, got that. Thank you.
I'm gonna stop it right there for a moment. Was there a handgun visible in this?
I don't need them to tell me what's in the
Okay, all right.
video.
We'll just
I
go
can
forward
see,
then.
I
We'll
can
just
see
go
that part myself.
We'll just go forward. And again, is this a view from the front of the?
Is this the same? It's gonna show me some, I don't think it's showing me any more than you already showed me. Unless,
Well, this one, Judge. You would-
all right.
But you don't need to see any more angles, correct?
No.
Detective Du, based on what you observed in these green light videos, what did you do as a result? What did you direct to happen?
It was extracted, as based on evidence.
And did you direct anyone else on your team or anyone associated with your team to do something at that location?
Yes, Detective, Antonio Carlisi is, in charge of our video. He's been trained to extract all the video, and he's the one that proceeded into our Gentex system, which is our Project Greenlight system, and he downloaded the video.
Did you have, do you have contact with evidence techs that evening?
Yes.
And what did you direct them to do, if anything?
Detective, Peterson was the one that was actually running the scene, but he instructed them to collect evidence.
Okay, this is all you're saying. It doesn't matter anyway, if he didn't do it,
No, he didn't.
so, I mean, what difference does it make?
Okay. As a result of everything that you learned about this scene, did you develop a suspect?
Yes,
Okay, and who was that person?
Mr. Ronald.
Deron Williams?
Correct.
Is that person here in court today?
Yes.
Can you identify who he is and what he's wearing?
He's seated, in the right there with the green on and the, mask, hospital mask.
Thank you, nothing further.
May I consult with my client for a moment?
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Your Honor, without further ado, having consulted with my client, we will not have any questions of this witness. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Step back. Are you all ready?
Just a moment. There are some reports that will have to be received from the Michigan State Lab, but I wanted to establish what we did before we took those reports to cover.
Judge, you know, Mosley is he's in MDLC. Supposed to be away. I just want you to know, I don't know how long.
Well, bring in.
Mr. Glenn,
Huh?
yeah, he said he's gonna be away.
Right, we're gonna stop and I'm gonna take a quick waiver for a second. You can stay right there. Everybody can stay where you're at.
Thank you.
You've already had an opportunity to talk to your client?
Pardon me?
You had an opportunity to talk to your client?
No, their witnesses are not here. I'm asking for dismissal.
Oh. Oh.
Then he can be quicker. Prosecutor, he's been here.
Where's the prosecutor?
There he is, right here. But they have two witnesses, Judge. Neither of them are here.
All right. You ain't qualified.
Calling case number 2055192, the people of the state of Michigan versus Alante Mosley. Defendant is charged with count 1, assault of prison employee. Count 2, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. Habitual offender, 4th notice. This matter is scheduled for examination.
Yes, Judge. Alex Curry on behalf of the people, P number 84950.
Good afternoon, Judge. Richard Lander. Mr. Mosley, Judge,
It's off.
All right, hold on. Mosley, state your name, please.
Alante Dale Mosley.
Thank you, sir.
Judge, this matter was up previously. I had come down for it, for an exam, and Mosley was run with the DC. It was adjourned for today, in-person exam at 3 o'clock. It's now 3:15. We're ready to proceed.
People are not ready to proceed, Judge. Our witnesses are not here. To my knowledge, they were subpoenaed, they were contacted yesterday, and they are not here.
We move to dismiss, Judge.
All right, now it's dismissed without prejudice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
I just need a dismissal form, Mr. Glander, please.
Yes.
All right, we're back on the record on 2155697. You can stay Michigan versus Ronald Williams.
The people call Corporal Giles to the stand.
Earlier today.
You gotta be there in a second. Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you state your name and record, please?
My name is Raymond Giles.
And how are you employed?
I'm a Detroit police corporal.
And are you employed in a specific section?
Yes, I am.
What's that?
I'm currently assigned to the evidence tech unit.
And what does an evidence technician do?
As an evidence tech, my job is to process and document the scene of a crime and hold the verdict form. And the way I do that is to photograph when required. I search the scene for firearms evidence, casings, guns, bullets. I search the scene and recover related evidence. I inspect the scene when required, and also when required, I process for relationship.
And I'm gonna take you back to March 13th of 2020, that was a little more than a year ago. And do you recall being called to a scene at a Sitco gas station?
I responded to the scene on the 14th.
Okay. And were you able to collect evidence at that scene?
Yes, I did.
Can you tell us what you collected?
At the scene, I collected firearm casings, 7 of them. I collected a damaged pair of eyeglasses. I collected a knit hat. I collected trace suspected blood, swabs of the casings, swab of the deceased's hands, a wallet, some narcotics, and a roll up dollar bill with some white residue.
And was all that reflected in the report?
Yes, it was.
And what did you do with the evidence you had collected?
Once I collected, I packaged, well, it was marked, photographed, did a rough sketch of where the items were, the ones that were at the scene that were marked. And then I packaged the evidence and then I turned it over to the homicide center.
Judge, may I approach with proposed exhibits 2, 3, and 4? handed you what are some photographs. Are those photographs taken at the scene of the Ciclo gas station?
Let's do it one at a time. We'll do it one at a time.
Sure, I'm sorry.
Exhibit 2, exhibit 2, 3, 4.
Looking at people's proposed two, what is that a photograph of?
Exhibit number 2 is a photograph depicting myself at the scene collecting a trace suspected blood sample that I labeled 17.
Very well. The next photograph, 3, could you tell us what that is, please?
Exhibit 3 is a photograph of myself again collecting suspected trace blood that I labeled number 16.
Very well. And number 4.
And number 4 is a close-up of the suspected blood sample 16, my hand and the swab at the actual collection time.
Very well. I move for the admission of those exhibits, Judge.
I'm going to examine only, Your Honor.
I just be admitted for example.
And I'm going to approach with exhibits 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Let's go from there. I think we'll go 6, 7.
Oh, sure, I'm sorry. Judge, you wish to?
Thank you.
You got a chance to review those?
Yes, I have.
Okay. As part of your duties, did you also go to a hospital?
Yes, I did.
And what was the purpose in going to the hospital?
I reported to the hospital to document the photographs of the deceased's injuries, to collect trace evidence from the deceased's hands, and to collect his property clothing.
And did you do all of those things?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so people's proposed exhibit number 5, could you identify that and tell us what that is?
Exhibit 5 is a close-up of the right hand of the decedent with the medical armband that was placed on him at the time where he was tentatively identified as John Doe.
And number 6, please.
Exhibit 6 is another close-up of the right hand, also with the armband, and some suspected stains of suspected blood on the right hand.
And did you sample those suspected stains?
Yes, I swabbed the right hand, yes.
Okay. And number 7?
Exhibit 7 is another angle of the suspected blood on the right hand that I swabbed.
And number 8?
And exhibit 8 is a photograph depicting a close-up of the left hand of the deceased.
And again, was there suspected,
There's
evidence?
stainings of suspected blood at the fingers and at the knuckles.
And were those swabbed as well?
Yes, they were.
And all of those were placed on evidence?
Yes.
I move for the admission of 5, 6, 7, and 8.
And
Likewise.
I be admitted for example as well.
Could you tell us, I'm sorry, could you tell us how many casings you found here?
I recovered 7 fire casings,
Thank you. You know what the caliber?
9 millimeter.
Thank you, nothing further.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I've never seen you in uniform before, but you were that day.
Yes, I
Is
was.
there any reason why you were in uniform?
During my duty hours, which is from midnight to 8 a.m. or thereabouts, I don my police uniform for evidence.
Okay, thank you very much. And you've been evidence tech for how many years?
I've been an evidence tech for 15 years,
All right, very good. Number of cases
in the thousands.
all over the city.
Correct.
Okay. And you work with a partner, do you not?
Yes, I do.
And who is that partner?
My partner on this particular night was Carrington Sheridan.
Okay, had you been in another scene prior to coming to this scene?
No, this was the first scene of the night.
Okay, and you were called probably at home to get into uniform to come out?
No, my scheduled hours are midnight to 8. I arrived at midnight for my scheduled shift, and I received the dispatch call at 5 minutes past midnight.
Do you know the purpose of the first arriving officers?
The run that I was dispatched to, well, not what the officers responded to. I responded to a fatal shooting homicide.
All right, and when you arrived there, did you see certain, a perimeter?
There was officers, with the, at both ends of the entrance and exit of the gas station, blocking the entrances, and there's, evidence at the scene.
You keep track of when you were called and when you arrived,
Correct.
and will you please tell us that?
I arrived at, 12:45 a.m.
And did you have information that with at least maybe within 45 minutes to an hour, the
Uh,
event had happened?
Yes,
Okay, so it was a fresh event, is that correct?
yes.
Okay. Now, I also know you went to another scene relative to this event, investigation, isn't that correct?
That's correct. I, responded to Grace Hospital.
Grace Hospital. And there, you were there for a while?
The exact time at the hospital, no, the entire time of my scene, from the moment I arrived at, the Finkel address and into the time that I cleared Grace Hospital was at 3:30 a.m.
All right. Would you just work with me in terms of how the scheduling went? You went to the Citgo gas station scene first,
Correct,
and then you went to the hospital scene?
correct.
And did you go back to the Citgo scene?
Yes,
Okay. And do you have those times sufficiently to tell us when you went and when you left?
all of
when you
it
came back?
encompasses from beginning when I arrived to when I finally cleared.
Okay, but it is true that you were there at the gas station scene, you left, you went to the hospital scene, then you came back to the gas station scene.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. And during the period that you were away, did you go away with your assistant, your associate?
Yes,
Okay, so both of you went to the hospital scene.
that is correct.
Approximately how long were you gone?
I could not speculate on the exact time, maybe 40 minutes, I don't know.
But what you did over there is you found the person, where they were at, located, and talked to some staff, found out where the person was, got set up and made your photographs. Is that correct?
Correct,
And you made swabs.
correct.
Okay. Now, then you went back and you then photographed and made swabs. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm interested in number 16. You know where I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
If I may refer, that is a blood sample that I collected at the front, just north of the front doors of the Citgo gas.
How far away from the front door?
If I may refer to my sketch.
Yes, please.
It's approximately 26 feet.
Okay. And when you returned from the hospital, then you set out your placards for gun shell casings?
No, the placards were already set up from the beginning that I responded to the scene. Based on additional information while I was at the hospital, that's why I returned back to the scene and the blood samples were collected.
All right. And in particular, number 16 site, can you refer to your report at page 5, if you would, please, and tell me the distinguishing features and whereabouts between unmarked item 16 and unmarked item 17, if you would, please.
Item 16 is just north of the front doors, and item 17 is north of pump number 5-6, almost at the exit of the gas station on the north.
Do you have a swap for that in your possession at this time?
I'm sorry?
For number 17, do you have a swap for that?
Yes,
May I see it? And what number?
it's listed on the report. I don't have the swap.
May I see it? May I approach Ronald? Would you show it, please?
Item 11 is
Okay,
blood
hold
sample.
on.
No, sir. I'm looking for a photograph. Do you have a photograph?
Oh, I don't have a photograph.
You have all. You're not ahead,
The evidence that you just handed.
the judge has.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Could you show me the swab of number 17?
17. That is exhibit number 2.
Okay.
This is the gas station at the top right corner of the photograph. The pump's in between, and we are north of the pump.
Could you show me the other photograph where you're taking the swab?
Exhibit number 3 is the exhibit, the swab 16.
Okay. And these are two different swabs, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Now, I see that you have what someone might describe as a Q-tip, is that correct?
Yes, it is. It's like
Okay,
an
please.
enlarged Q-tip.
Okay. Would you please tell me as to number 16, that you are depicted, as to what you're doing and how you did it in accordance with your training?
So we identified the blood that's at the site. I applied several drops of distilled water to the suspected blood area. If it's dry, in this case, this one was. So then I take the enlarged Q-tip, I unpackage it from a wrapped package, this single, one Q-tip per package. I have one drop of the distilled water also on the head of the Q-tip. Then I rub it at the site. Then the Q-tip gets placed back in the package, and then packaged and turned over.
Is that process at all seen in terms of the placing of the distilled water on it?
Yes, it takes place at the time that it's gonna be collected.
Where on your person would you have that distilled water?
I have a vial, this is something I have in my pocket ready to go, or in the van in my kit.
Okay. So you moisten the Q-tip, is that correct? Or the
I
collector tip?
drop a drop on the head of the Q-tip, correct.
Okay, and then what do you do with the suspected sample of blood?
The site is swabbed with the head of the Q-tip, then it's placed back in the package, and then packaged completely to be to seal and signed in an evidence tag.
Excuse me, I'm looking for something here on this. Show the witness. You place a number by any particular suspected blood?
In this case, no.
Or any type of object? Any type of object that might glow in the dark or be a reflector or something?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about that.
I have, since I work at nighttime, most things are dark. So I have what's called little, like glow lights that I place underneath the number cones that glow so that in a dark scene you can see them. I also have red lights to notate the blood in the area. And I also have some glow arrows, sometimes just to show some direction. For contrast, when you take a expanded photo.
You have to be very careful walking to the crime scene, do you not?
That is correct.
All right. May I approach you for a moment? Do you have this photograph here, sir?
I do not. This, I believe the right one.
Would you look and see if you have that photograph?
That is this photograph.
Okay, and the number is?
Exhibit 2.
Okay, I want to refer to exhibit 2, okay? You know where I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And you see yourself bending down there?
Correct.
And what swab were you taking? You know?
That is swab 17.
Okay, thank you. And as to that swab, That is out close to the street of Finkel, isn't that correct?
Correct.
And you see in that photograph a vehicle, do you not?
Yes.
Would you describe that as a?
This is a pickup truck.
Yes. And the color?
Chevy Silverado, I believe it's black.
You don't see it as white?
No, this one shows like a grayish, darkish tint.
Okay. You know there was a Silverado, a vehicle involved in this case, do you not?
Correct, yes.
Are you alluding to the fact that you believe that is a Silverado?
It was in this particular spot, yes.
You don't think it might be the Silverado though, do you?
The photograph on here, the hue on it, from the darkness, it's giving like a grayish color.
Right, rather than a black Silverado, isn't that correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Now, this is upon your return from Sinai Grace Hospital, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much. May I have another moment, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Judge, do they know you don't, Mr. Moulton?
Mr. Mosley, you know, you can,
Yes, sir.
sign out. Your case was dismissed.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay.
After conferring with my client, Your Honor, that's all the questions I have.
No further questions.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, sir.
Judge, did you need exhibit one, which was the ME's report? Did you need that at all? I have it.
Yeah, I need to see it before. Yeah, anything in there that I have to take a look at.
People's remaining evidence today, Judge, will be MSP, Forensic Sciences report. They are exhibits 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I just labeled them, they're a little bit out of order. The record numbers themselves are record 2, which is exhibit 9, record 3, which is exhibit 11, record number 4, which is People's Exhibit 10, proposed, I'm sorry, and record number 6, which is People's Proposed 12. And I could, Judge, I will submit those in their entirety.
I believe, Your Honor, that they have been duly authenticated for the purpose of the preliminary exam.
Okay, there will be a minute.
Thank you. May I approach him?
That's all.
Thank you. There was a considerable amount of evidence that was collected in this case, so I had highlighted in yellow the references to specific items that we've already talked about. And to summarize, the reports indicate that DNA was found on some of the blood on the parking lot area that was related to Mr. Williams. He has 2 names in the report, but his alias of Ronald Williams is also listed. Secondarily, the swabs of the victim's hand and the left fingernail
came back positive to Ron Williams as well. And with that, the floor.
One second. Mr. Chair.
And you disappeared. I just left you. Come on, you're ready in Troy. Troy, you put on that exam. Yes, an adjourned date for tomorrow. So.
Any,
No, Your Honor, no witnesses. Thank you.
There's people who find over as charged, I'll reserve argument.
I need to address one issue.
Sure.
As to the, homicide first degree, premeditated.
Yes.
And during the video, I mean, there was obviously some kind of discussion going on for a period of time. Then there was basically an assault by the victim upon Mr. Williams. And then Mr. Williams, once he got up, the victim was still holding him, he was able to take a gun out of his right side and shoot him. Shot him a couple times, and he ended up falling. He walks over to him and shoots him again. Now, why isn't this M2? He is passion murder, based on the fight.
I think that the video speaks for itself, of course. You can see that there is a moment, and the law doesn't tell us how long it takes to form an intent to premeditate. Premeditation can be an instant. In this case, this is a fist fight, and it's the defendant who brings the gun to the fist fight, this is not legitimately self-defense. So, yes, he's perhaps on the losing end of that fist fight, but at some point, he makes a conscious decision, and you can see it when he reaches into his right side, holds it out, the car approaching, backs up immediately upon seeing that gun. So time, there's moments passing, there's time to think, there's time to reflect. He gets away from the assailant, the victim, turns around and fires the gun right at his chest, and then continues to walk after and fire that gun multiple times. There are 7 shell casings found at this scene. But as you can see, and you did see, he followed the victim. Even after the victim had fallen, he followed him. When the victim had fallen to the ground, he plugged him again multiple times. So to me, I think this evidence shows that there's an intent that's been formed. I am going to kill this man, and that's the end of it. So it doesn't seem like he's agitated. You can see that he calmly picks up his stuff and walks away from the scene. He doesn't flee, he doesn't run, he doesn't ask for help, he doesn't do any of this. He does, I think, on this record, show that there's some intent that's formed in his mind that he's going to kill his assailant, and he does so.
Your Honor, I have to rise in opposition to that. As a matter of fact, when you see the nature of the event, you can see where it is that the person who ends up doing what you see was in fact struck a number of heavy blows to the head, okay? You can imagine those blows and what they affected and how they affected that person and the struggle in order to get back on his feet and do anything, okay? And I think you could also understand the fact that once back and on his feet, that he was certainly able to understand and expect that he might be in fact assaulted in some other more serious fashion. And certainly with the blows to the head and then the aftermath of that, of the shooting, whatever it is you see there does not represent murder one.
Any brief thought?
Just briefly, Judge, I think that when they separate, but the moment when they get apart, the defendant could have walked away. He could have run into the gas station. He could have done any number of things to leave the situation. He did not have to pull out a gun and fire it. That was his choice. That was a premeditated intent on his part to make sure that the person who had bested him got it back. And he made that clear, and he did it. We can see it clearly on this video record. So I asked for it to find out on that.
We're having heard the testimony and argument plans as follows. First heard from Ms. Taylor Giles, who testified that she was at the March 13th, 2020 in the evening at the gas station, Citgo gas station at Cinco and Dexter with an Ford Explorer. Her friend went in to pay for gas. She stood outside, saw two guys standing in front of a vehicle down the way by another car. They were talking. A fight pursued. Then one man pulled out the other. A fight pursued. One man pulled out a gun. The person was wearing a red jacket, light colored jeans. The other person was wearing, was taller than the shooter, pant boxers, and some type of gray hoodie or sweatshirt. So shoot him, and then as the person fell, she thought he was already dead. She saw the shooter walk up to him again and shoot him at least 2 more times. It was actually shown in the video that you saw, the green light video. The green light video kind of showed it all. The issue that, the court is having is that, can I infer based on what I saw that it's premeditated? Yeah, but can I equally infer that it was also because, he had just taken a beat down from this guy. It was a heat of passion type thing, and that he was still in that heat of passion when he fired that gun, which makes it 2nd degree. I think I could equally infer that. So at this point, what the court's going to do, I'm going to bind over count 1 as open murder, leaving it up to the trial fact to make that decision of what it actually is. And to be perfectly honest, I could go either way. And bind over on counts 2, 3, and 4. Find those felonies did in fact return to city, so it's probably called this charges. Will be found over the Wayne County Central Court Criminal Division for arraignment of information, which will be April 14th at 9 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you, Judge. Oh, no. You go back. Yeah.
You can take that if you want. You take my pen?
No.
Okay.
Sorry. I have a bad habit of holding on to them, and I have to have my foot off and take it down the hall.
Hang in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, can I talk to him in the back a little bit?
Actually, we can't allow that, but
Oh,
go
okay.
downstairs, take them straight down there.
All right, thank you.
I know.
sounds terrible, but.
Alright.
Can I copy? Is this good? Can I take it out for a hot minute?
Yeah.
Just a minute.
Set it over here.
You sure? Because I put it back on our pen.
Think you'll take it right over before I get down or what?
No.
I can go right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Judge. I'll see you.
How you doing?
Very good, yeah.
Family good?
Yeah. We're getting older.
I'll tell you, man, I am,
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd reach this point, but I'm sure glad I'm still on my feet.
oh, definitely, definitely. You know, I'll pretty much do my,
Yeah.
we're at the age now. And, you know, very.
Classmates,
Yeah.
acquaintances, relatives, right?
You know, I think that's probably haven't seen in a while. Like,
Right.
so, you know,
Just like Cliff, look at Cliff.
I don't know how much I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know, I told her, you know, I'm gonna, we want to go forward.
Uh-huh.
I didn't take.
Everybody's there.
Yeah, we'll see. A number of my friends over there,
Sure.
and they're trying to really come down, I'll come down and look.
Yeah, visit.
You know, I love Mexico.
Very nice.
Right, I see the ocean.
Sure.
My watch, when I go down, I sit on the beach, feet in the sand,
That's right.
and just breathe in the air.
Sure.
So, that's, and, I was in Mexico, back in 2019. And before we were walking home, and my father.
Huh? I mean, they don't have to, it's just.
If it gets too cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. This is it. Sure. Yeah. And how farther away from here can you get? Did you feel safe and everything? No, when you're not down there. Is that right? Nice. Well, that's good to know.
You know, like 25, I wouldn't mind it in there, just because it's just gotten so.
Populated.
Populated, yeah.
That's right.
First time I went there, it was small.
Right.
It was still a village.
Sure.
You know, fishing village.
Yep.
And,
I know where the marina is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically all they had.
That's right.
You know, they had maybe, what, 6, 7 restaurants.
You know what, one of the ones they got is Ford Garage right there.
Yeah.
You got Ford's Garage down there?
Yep.
And I love going over to where the Henry Ford and Thomas Edison, how it is summer residences were.
That's it, but I'm looking more south.
On the corner up.
In terms of, if I go to Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
Now Pacific side, way down at the bottom, below the hurricane belt.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, so the west, you know, that's, what else you know, it's a city of about. I want to say 100, maybe 100,000, 120 at most. You know, they got a new hospital.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
you know, they got all the normal stuff.
Sure.
But it's not blowing up like Cancun and the rest of, you know. And it's like, okay, I can deal with this. You can still go to a nice little restaurant where you know, sit down and it costs you.
Nominal.
Nominal. You know,
Right. Sure.
You know, they have a nice meal.
Right.
You know,
And they treat you right in the right spots, that's right, that's really important. Yeah. The flights are easy enough back here,
So, going all the way down there, you can just,
a couple of hippity hops, eh? Yeah.
you know, I hope you find that's the city. So, you know,
Really nice, eh? I'm gonna mention it to Sheila. You know, we got grandchildren, that's a little problem.
Yeah, well, I got a little grandkid.
Wow.
You know, if I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll be done.
Yeah. Yep. Come down.
I see the country.
That's right, that's right. Leave the snow at home. Okay, Judge, take care. See you. Bye-bye.
Oh,
Thanks.
all right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's hot.
Oh, it's hot.
I don't know when they're gonna turn that air on. Be a good time.
They normally turn on May 1st, I think.